right, I'm Andrew here with NerdyRaptor. I'm talking with Marco from DnDUI podcast. Marco, you would tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Sure. DnDUI is a podcast that I started with me and my brother and my close friends, where it's essentially we've taken Dungeons and Dragons and worked in drinking games into the rules. So if we start every round, every hour of play with a D20 challenge where we roll dice, and depending on how the dice come up, we have to take various shots and do different things. And if you get a nat 1, we put Tabasco in it and just have a lot of fun razzing each other. So we get jovialent, as I like to say, while playing Dungeons and Dragons, and just having as much fun as we humanly can. And it's also spun off into a webcomic, and we've got all this other extra content going on just because of how in love we are with the world we've created, and the characters are so zany and weird that we just want to make up more things about these characters. So we do all these weird Q&As with these made up gods and stuff like that, just because we think it's so hysterical.
How drunk do you guys usually get in a session?
It depends on the week. Sometimes I do have to work in the morning, so we have a drunk scale that we use at the beginning of every episode. So you'll see it on our episodes of 0 to 10. 0 being stone cold sober, 10 being on the ground, not feeling well, 10 is under the table. Generally on a good weeknight we'll get to 8, if not 9. Enough that you can go to work the next morning, sort of, physically, not mentally. So we do drink quite heavily, but we do enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun.
Right. You got a favorite moment that you've had over the course of this?
Now, see, that's a good question, because I'm the dungeon master, so I plan the world. I plan all the challenges, all the puzzles, all the things that these guys have to fight against, I get to come up with. And I really love my job. Just because I love coming up with strange puzzles that I know will not only challenge them, but infuriate them. I love it when they're angry, when they're just mad at me for making them do these things. I'm super happy. So my personal favorite moment is they were going through the trial of the god of fighting. So he's essentially this really big, dumb jock who just likes to punch things. His catchphrase is smash. Just smash. He shows up, smashes things, leaves. So they walk through a big door that says, Uthgar knows when to talk. Right? And they're ooh, so they're it's gonna be a talking puzzle. They come into a room, and there's 100 switches and a little riddle master gnome. And I thought it was gonna be a 5-minute throwaway room where they'd just show up and leave. And it turned into an hour and a half of them yelling at me because I'm just laughing them so hard, and they're trying to ask the gnome questions, and I'm just hurling insults at them in this squeaky high made up voice oh, you smell, you guys are assholes, and just assailing them with as many insults as possible. And it turned out that the solution to the puzzle was just to punch him in the face, because Uthgar knows when to talk, which is never just punch more things. And I think that was the most fun I've ever had. I thought I was going to pass out from laughing too hard. Oh yeah, we also have a webcomic that is illustrated by a good friend of mine, Nick Efferson. So Nick actually doesn't drink at all. He never drinks, but he started listening to our podcast because he's a good friend. He was hey man, listen to my podcast. And he started to love it so much, he was I just want to draw your characters. They're so funny, they get into such weird situations. I have all these comic ideas, please can I draw them? They're not only can you draw them, we're gonna put it on your site, you're gonna be one of our partners. Get in on this. We're not trying to make a business here, we're just trying to have as much fun as possible. We're losing money being at Indy PopCon, but we get to show up in a convention at Indianapolis and talk about drinking and Dungeons and Dragons? Yeah, I totally want to do this. So we write the webcomics ourselves, we make all the jokes and all the illustrations and things like that, and it's just fun. So if they go to DnDUI.com, they can find links to our Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have you can find us on Patreon and iTunes and a whole bunch of things, and we're actually really big in community activity and social media. So if you tweet at us ideas for drinking challenges, or man, this character should definitely be set on fire. Me as the Dungeon Master, I go through those tweets and read them, and I love hearing back from the community. And I'm like, you want to know what? Yeah, that character should be set on fire. But you know what? Set him on fire, shoot him out of a catapult, just to see what happens. And like, I just love doing that thing. Our fans that donate a little bit through Patreon, we've actually set up a forum on our website. So if you give us like $1 a month or like 50 cents a month, we don't really care, you get like a direct hotline to me where I'm like in open space just talking about like, guys, here's what I'm thinking about for the next dungeon. I don't know what to do yet. And we've got a couple of our fans that are like super in on it and they're like helping me come up with like monsters and trials and things like that. What I wanted this to be is I wanted it to be people's favorite TV show that they can decide what happens. Like imagine watching Game of Thrones and be like, man, I really don't want that character to die. And you could just text the dude who wrote Game of Thrones, like, don't kill him. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like that's what I want this to be. So if you guys are interested in our podcast, you can find us on our website, DnDUI.com. You can find us on the iTunes Store. You can find us on the Google Play Store. You can find us on Stitcher and Twitter and Facebook and all those good, wholesome sites.
All right, that was Marco from DnDUI. Make sure to follow them on Facebook and Twitter.